Welcome to Brian 360, and welcome to my wife's birthday gift to me, a helicopter tour over my hometown of Toronto. For our anniversary several years ago, she gave me an introductory flight lesson on an airplane. She seems to want to send me on high-altitude, slightly dangerous experiences. I can hardly wait for my Christmas present. Probably skydiving from a hot air balloon over a volcano. I should check my life insurance policy. But seriously, thank you very much to my wife for this incredible experience. How did I get here? Let's head back to the beginning and see the rest of Toronto. It is a beautiful sunny day, 30 degrees Celsius, about 1 o'clock, October 4th, 2025. I am flying with Toronto Heli Tours, and they fly out of Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport in downtown Toronto. The airport is named for the Canadian World War I flying ace, who was credited with 72 victories, making this Victoria Cross winner the top Canadian and British Empire ace of the war. Alright, that's the end of your history lesson for today. The flight plan is to first head west with Lake Ontario on our left and the city of Toronto on our right. We will then get to High Park and then turn around and head back east towards the CN Tower and the downtown core. I was lucky enough to be sitting in the front seat to the left of the pilot. To the German couple who were sitting in the back seats, I hope you had a safe flight home. I hope you enjoyed your time in Canada. And here is the promised video a couple days late. Hopefully this video shows you some of the things you might have missed from the back seat. Our first place of interest is what was formerly known as Ontario Place, which was sort of an amusement park, IMAX theater, and other attractions for families. Right now, the big attraction is the Budweiser Stage, where, on September 29th, I was lucky enough to attend the Judas Priest and Alice Cooper concert. In recent years, I have seen Iron Maiden, Scorpions, and Sabrina Carpenter. Yes, that's Sabrina Carpenter. It was the second concert I ever took my daughter to, and that was back when Sabrina Carpenter was singing about twiddling her thumbs. Now she sings about, well, other things. Directly below us right now is the grounds of the Canadian National Exhibition, which runs for the last 2 weeks of August, ending on Labor Day. I have a handful of videos from the CNE on my channel from a few years ago. It's difficult to describe exactly what the CNE is. It's an amusement park mixed with an agricultural fair, along with very strange food. Think deep-fried butter and anything else you can fry. In addition to plenty of shopping, dog shows, and for the last 3 days, a very impressive air show. Look at all that lovely traffic below. That is the Gardiner Expressway. You should probably just call it the Gardiner Way because there's nothing express about it. Traffic coming into and going out of Toronto is always a mess, day and night. There are lots of great things about the city, but driving is not one of them. We have a decent public transit system, but nothing compared to places like London, England, and, well, pretty much all of Europe. So, if you are visiting Toronto, do your best to find your way without renting a car. I had to drive in downtown Toronto 4 times in about a month, and I have had my fill. Coming into view right now is High Park, which is about 161 hectares or 400 acres of trees and, well, very little city concrete. It is a mix of hiking trails, sporting facilities, gardens, playgrounds, and even a zoo. High Park is famous for its Japanese cherry trees, and thousands, I mean thousands, of people flock to the park every year from late April to early May to see over 2,000 of these blossoming trees, which were donated to Toronto by the citizens of Tokyo. Toronto is the capital of the province of Ontario and is the most populous city in Canada, with a 2021 population of about 2.8 million. The Greater Toronto Area, which includes neighbouring municipalities, has a population of about 6.4 million. Toronto is known for being one of the most multicultural cities in the world, with about half of its residents born outside of Canada and over 160 languages spoken in the city. Throughout the city, there are pockets of ethnic areas including Chinatown, Little Italy, Greektown, Little Portugal, Little Manila, Little India, Little Jamaica, and Koreatown, to name just a few. My own ethnic background is representative of the immigrant culture of Canada, with grandparents or great-grandparents from Sweden, Iceland, England, and Austria. Luckily, all of my grandparents converged on Toronto, making my parents, who eventually made me. There is no Little Sweden as far as I know in the city of Toronto, but there is the annual Swedish Christmas Fair, which I was lucky enough to attend last year. Let's put in a plug for the Swedish Christmas Fair, which is happening November 22nd and 23rd in Toronto. This view of Toronto is one that many people have if they are on a large international flight airplane to Toronto, and you're lucky enough to be sitting on the right or starboard side of the airplane. If you are on one of these flights, you will not be landing at Billy Bishop Airport, but you will be landing in the city of Mississauga, which is just west of Toronto. At Toronto Pearson International Airport, named for Lester B. Pearson, Canada's 14th Prime Minister and winner of the Nobel Peace Prize in 1957, for his work in peacekeeping. This view is the one that you'll get as the airplane is about to circle back, heading west towards Mississauga and the airport. If you are a fan of superheroes, pay attention because this part is for you. We now get a glimpse of Casa Loma. Thousands of people visit this site every year, and those who are fans of the X-Men movie franchise will recognize this as the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. But we know the truth. They aren't just gifted youngsters, they are mutants. Professor X, Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and many other mutants have walked through the halls of Casa Loma while those movies were filmed here. Near the middle of the screen now are some athletic fields of the University of Toronto, and many of those buildings in the foreground are University of Toronto buildings. There really isn't a defined campus, it's just a huge section of the city that's part of U of T. We have now turned south and we are heading back to the downtown core, and we are looking at Toronto's most famous building, the CN Tower. At 553 meters or 1,815 feet, it was the world's tallest freestanding structure from 1975 until 2007. It has been dwarfed by many buildings since then, but still remains the 10th tallest freestanding structure in the world and the tallest freestanding structure in the Western Hemisphere. There are 2 observation decks, a rotating restaurant, and a platform for those people who are brave enough to venture outside at 356 meters above the ground, tethered to what seems to me a ridiculously unsafe cord, rope, piece of dental floss. I don't know what it is, but it's nuts. Just in front of the CN Tower is a white structure that is the Rogers Centre, formerly known as Skydome. A retractable dome built in 1989 for the Toronto Blue Jays baseball team and the Toronto Argonauts football team. On the day of this recording, the Toronto Blue Jays trounced the New York Yankees 10-1, and then followed up with a 13-7 victory in the second game of the American League Division Series. This is also a popular concert venue where I've seen AC/DC, Kiss, Motley Crue, and took the family to see One Direction. At the base of the CN Tower, there's a white building with 2 shark silhouettes. That is Ripley's Aquarium, another very impressive tourist attraction in this very crowded downtown core. Now, what looks like a UFO surrounded by 2 semicircular buildings is the Toronto City Hall and the adjacent Nathan Phillips Square. Here in the winter, there is a large outdoor skating rink open to the public, and in warmer months there are concerts, cultural events, and celebrations. This is also the gathering place for those wishing to welcome the new year if you choose to stand outside in the frigid Canadian winter on December 31st. We have several points of interest coming up quickly, so I'll do my best to point them out. First up, building with the blue dome is the headquarters of the Toronto Police Service. Then we have the Ontario Legislative Assembly, where the provincial government sits and does its thing. To the left or south of that building is University Avenue, also known as Hospital Row, given the impressive number of hospitals and medical research centres. Then we have Convocation Hall at the University of Toronto, where my wife and I graduated too many years ago. And finally, probably my favorite tourist attraction in all of Toronto is the Royal Ontario Museum, also known as the ROM. When my girlfriend, now wife, was living in a different city for university, I would come to the ROM on Friday nights after work, where it was free to roam around and explore at your leisure. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Wow, this guy has an exciting life visiting the museum on a Friday night. I had a girlfriend, okay? Just want to point that out. For a guy who loves history and nature, the ROM is the perfect place. It has the required dinosaur bones for any self-respecting museum, huge numbers of animal and geological specimens on display, but it's the history sections that kept bringing me back. Ancient Egypt, Greece, Cyprus, Rome, Nubia, the Aegean, Africa, the Americas, Asia Pacific, Byzantium, and Europe. And yes, I'm reading this off a map of the ROM. There were just too many to remember, honestly. But so much to see and learn, and that's why it's my favorite place in Toronto. I came here as a kid, and then many years later, I brought my kids here to see the ROM. Directly below us now is the Don River, which runs parallel to the Don Valley Parkway, also known as the Don Valley Parking Lot, due to the incredible amounts of traffic in this area during rush hour and even outside rush hour. This is the highway I took to get downtown today. The Don Valley Parkway continues to the west or to the right onto the Gardiner Expressway, which I mentioned earlier is not much of an expressway at all. Did I mention that traffic in Toronto is bad? I feel like I should say that at least 5 times. That being said, I'm sure most large cities have their issues with traffic, and it's not just a Toronto problem. In addition to driving or flying into Pearson Airport or Billy Bishop Airport, taking a train into Toronto is an option as well. Trains from across Canada and the United States travel to and from Union Station in downtown Toronto. Here is a good look at the train tracks that lead to and from Union Station. For commuters in Toronto, this is where thousands start their workday. The downtown core is certainly a busy, busy place. As we begin our approach back to Billy Bishop Airport, we see in front of us Centre Island. There are ferries that leave from Toronto Harbour and bring tourists to Centre Island for the day to experience an amusement park, hiking, a beach, and other points of interest. The beautiful weather certainly brings out the boats. As I mentioned earlier, this is not typical October weather for Toronto, so people take advantage of every last second they can. Hiding amongst some condos, you can just make out a flat-roofed building. This is the Scotiabank Arena, home of the Toronto Maple Leafs hockey team and the Toronto Raptors basketball team. Similar to the Rogers Centre, it's also a popular concert venue. In past years, I have seen Shakira with my wife, Iron Maiden with my son, and Judas Priest and AC/DC at the Rogers Centre. Rumor has it that this is the year the Toronto Maple Leafs will win the Stanley Cup. The Leafs like to share. They haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1967, predating my birth. Perhaps my son will someday see a Stanley Cup parade in Toronto, but I'm not so sure. If you are planning on visiting Toronto and want to see some of the attractions, look into something called a City Pass. Lots of cities have them, and Toronto is no exception. At a discounted rate, you get to see 5 attractions within 9 days, including the CN Tower and Ripley's Aquarium, plus your choice of 3 other attractions, including the Royal Ontario Museum, Casa Loma, a city cruise in Toronto, and the Toronto Zoo, which is a bit of a distance outside of the downtown core, but is definitely worth the trip. I sound like I'm a tourism promoter, and I guess I am promoting Toronto. However, the City Passes are a great deal, allowing you to see a lot of things at a much cheaper price. As our helicopter tour of Toronto comes to a close and we have to land for a few seconds to let this airplane taxi to the runway, I want to thank the people of Heli Tours, and especially the pilot. I never knew a helicopter could be such a smooth ride, and she did a fantastic job. As well, thank you very much for watching. I have a handful of other Toronto videos on my channel, as well as plenty of other topics if you would like to check those out. Thank you again for watching, take care, and come visit Toronto.